Get those Cybermen out.
Welcome back to the Cybermen, guys. Today I'm doing a deck profile of my Towa Slug deck. It's a little bit cheeky, it's a little bit fun, but it has got me some wins at locals, first place a couple of times. And I haven't been able to test it in any kind of more competitive events because we haven't had any, but I will be probably carrying this deck all the way through to when the Cybermen deck comes out, and then I'm going to try and hone that. It's a lot of fun and it is very strong, so I hope you enjoy that. As for my whereabouts, I am currently out at a park down by the water, as you can see, near my work. I'm on my lunch break and I thought I would do this for you guys. I'm trying to get as much content as I can out, even though I am working full time, because I love you guys and I want you to keep watching our channel. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this. Cheers. All right, so we have the Towa leader here. This is the ultimate deck leader. I'll just go through it quickly. It is the permanent is treat dark Broly cards with an original energy cost of 9 or less in your hand, and non-black battle cards with Zeno in their character names and original energy cost of 9 or less in their hand as if they have no specified cost, and reduce their cost by 1. Very wordy. There's a lot of that in this deck, so I'm going to skip over that most of the time. I'm just going to say, you know, non-black, I don't know, I'll shorten it somehow. I don't run any dark Brolys in my deck, so you can ignore that part. When this card attacks, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand and then draw 1 card. So pretty standard, nice to have Self-Awakening. And when your life is at 4 or less, you may draw 1 and untap 1 to flip over. There's a cute little bird right next to me. Anyway, sorry. Same permanent on this side. It has the same auto on this side, except when this card attacks, draw 1 and this card gets 5,000 power. So not the same auto, sorry. So it's a 20k on attack, which is nice. And when one of your Dark Broly cards or one of your non-black battle cards is Zeno in its character name is removed from the battle area by an opponent's skill, draw 1 card. Really nice, because your opponent does, in this meta, you get a lot of battle cards being popped all the time. So that really helps. Just drawing an extra card every time they do it, especially since a lot of your cards, when they're removed by skill, have their own autos that go off. So that's really cool. All right, let's look at Unisons first. First of all, I run 3 of Dark Shenron Tyrannical Savior. In my initial build, I didn't run this because it just feels bad having a Unison that doesn't attack. But after testing for a while, it is very useful if games end up going long, because it helps you recycle your pieces. So he's got a permanent, this card can't attack. He's a 16k, so it's good protection for him. He doesn't get destroyed on turn 1 usually if you play him. He's got a +1 to choose one of those cards that we spoke about in the permanent. I'm not going to go through it all. From your hand or your drop, place it at the bottom of your deck, and if you chose one from your hand, you draw a card. So it's nice to cycle and grab cards from your deck and put cards that you need in your deck, like the Zeno that plays from deck, a few of those. And it's also good to put cards in the bottom of your deck from your drop if you need those cards in there and they're no longer there. It helps you when you run. I run a few 3-ofs in this deck, and it really helps because I don't need to run 4-of when I've got this for consistency. So I run that at 3. I run another Unison at 2. I run Towa Dark Demon Realm Scientist. I really like this card in some matchups. Most of the time I don't use it, but if I go second and I have this in my hand turn 1, I'll generally play it, because assuming my opponent has played a battle card on their turn. Because you can plus straight away and get rid of their battle card easily. The only problem with this is if you play against a deck that doesn't play battle cards, which I have a few times, then you don't really get to plus her very often. She's also good just to tap 4 and activate her -4, which is to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and take control of it. So she has an auto that when one of your opponent's battle cards is removed by skill or KO'd, you add a marker to this card. So it's amazing. You can use it on their turn, especially with Broly swap around. This every time they swap, once per turn, you add a marker. And then also when you use your own skills to remove cards, you add a marker as well. And then if you need to, you can drop a card to send an energy 3 or less from their battle area to their warp, and that also pluses her. And she can't attack unless she has 3 markers, so she's a 20k. It is really nice. Again, turn 1 play this and warp one of their cards. They can't really get rid of her without dropping cards from hand, and even if they do, it's a plus because their hand size will be lowered greatly to get rid of her. But I'm still not 100% sure if I'll keep running that. This deck is still under kind of construction and editing because I enjoy it so much and I think it's got potential, so it's one that I'm really putting a lot of work into. Next, 4 of Towa, rewriting history. This should be a 4 of probably in every one of these decks. When you play her, she's got an auto to choose a Dark Dragon Ball card from your deck or drop and add it to your hand. Great for recycling from drop. You can grab it back with Power Burst, so you've always got access to those balls. And then you tap 2 to choose 1 non-black. So you have to run non-black Dragon Balls in here from your hand and drop it to play a 4 or less. To play a Dark Broly, which I don't have, or a 4 or less non-black Xeno card from deck. So you use her to play the Buu most of the time. So she is, if you don't have a Unison, I'll play her turn 1. You have to have 3 or more energy to use that skill. So turn 1 to grab a ball if you know your opponent doesn't have easy early removal. Otherwise you usually play her turn 2 or turn 3 and then just go straight into it. Now I have 3 Dark Dragon Balls. This is a Slug deck, so they're the Slug Dark Dragon Balls. You can use anything if you're not playing all the Slug pieces I am, but I can get use out of these in rare situations in terms of the activate main. So usually grab that with them. If you already have one of these in hand, then you can grab the other Dark Dragon Balls, which I'll go through a bit later. Next I run, this is my spicy, but I've seen a few people starting to do this. I run Wings. Sorry, this one's out of a sleeve because I had to use the sleeve to protect my winner's card from that event. Wings, the morale booster. So everybody knows this card. It's from Slug. It's what made Slug come back into the forefront of hand destruction. He's got barrier. You can only have 1 in play, and it reduces Slug's army in your hand by 1. It doesn't reduce specified cost, but because your leader removes specified cost of the Xeno cards, you can play the next card for free. I tend to play him on turn 2. Turn 1 you want to get a Unison out if you can plus it, just because you'll start that earlier. If not, then you can play this turn 1 or this one, just so you don't waste your energy. Next, we have Lord Slug, the Shadow Warrior. So this card, as I said, when Wings is on board, it reduces it by 1. She removes specified cost and reduces it by 1 as well. So it's a free play blocker. Now that is very, very good. The other thing it's really good for is Successor. So if you need 2 costs on the field, you can just play this for free, assuming Wings is on your board. A lot of time people won't remove this because they can't, because of barrier, or because they think it's not that valuable to the deck. It does more than just let you play this for free. And you know, at the start, you're paying 1 for this and playing this for free, which you would be paying 1 for this anyway, so it doesn't feel that valuable, but it gives you an extra 1 on board for Successor, and then throughout the game, the longer this guy stays here, the more value you get out of it, and I'll explain that a bit later. So there's a 4 of, he's a unique blocker. You tap 1, when he gets removed by skill or KO'd, you can play a 9-drop Lord Slug Xeno from your deck. This is so good because your opponent might be like, oh, I'll remove it. They can't, because that still goes off, or you get a block and then you get to block 2 more times that turn. It's great against Red Broly, BR and other things, but I love that card. And the fact that it brings out a 9-drop is excellent for Successor. So this is Lord Slug, Unbridled Might. He's a unique blocker. He's green-yellow, so he kind of is annoying in hand, which is where this Unison comes into play. If you have him in your first hand and you have this Unison, you place this at the bottom of your deck to draw a card. You need him in deck because you're playing him with this, so it's one of the cards you keep putting back. You can evolve him for 2 on top of the 2-drop Slug, but that's obviously not energy efficient. You get to draw a card. It's just, I do it when I have to, but it's better to play him from deck with this Slug. He's got an auto that once per turn when he KOs an opponent's battle card or when he blocks, he gets to restand. So you can use it to swing at weenie cards on your turn, restand him and leave him up for a blocker the next turn. Also, it's nice to bait negates out with this guy because people know that he restands when he KOs something, or that if they don't, they read it to know that. So they negate the attack on their battle card, and you can bait negates and then play Selzeno using him after they've already got rid of that negate. Very good card. I only play it at 3 because you can recycle it with this and play it with this. You really don't need more than that, I don't think. I've never had a time where I didn't have one in the deck. Next up, we play Majin Buu, the Shadow Warrior, at 4. This is an amazing card. Everybody knows this card. It's in every deck. It's in the Majin Vegeta deck as well. This comes out for 3 if you need from hand with this skill. It comes out for 2 from deck with this. When you play it, you get to choose, look at the top 7 cards in your deck, choose a Dark Broly, which I don't have, or a non-black Zeno card with 9 or less and play it. So you can't go straight into Cell Zeno because that would be dumb. But you can play this, you can play this, you can play a bunch of other cards in the deck off the top 7, and that can be finishing, you know, you can finish games with this. Also, he's got barrier when he's in rest mode. If your opponent attacks a leader card, once per turn they have to drop 2 cards. A lot of the time, even when my opponents have a really big hand, they commit a lot into trying to kill this guy, and because I have lots of blockers and we have a bunch of negates, it's really good at protecting. I'm surprised how many people don't just take the neg. A lot of the time, if you're going for game, you should just take the neg if your hand's bigger than mine. But people just don't like dropping cards, which I can understand, so they attack into him. One of the cards you can play off that is Lord Slug, Dark Parasite. This card is amazing, it's so strong. I only run it at 3 again because it's so searchable, so playable from the deck, and then you can use this to place it at the bottom. I play Buu at 4 because even from hand, 3 energy is worth playing. So this guy, if your opponent has 3 or more energy, they can either choose to sack their Unison, and if they don't, KO all the battle cards. So it's pretty much a board wipe. You just make sure you get rid of their Unison first and then wipe their board with this guy. I've seen other people not rating this card that highly because of that clause where if they don't have any battle cards, they can just choose not to sack their Unison. But that's not why you're using this card. You're using this card to either get rid of their Unison or battle cards. If they have a full board of a Unison and battle cards, they have to make that hard choice. Or you kill their Unison and then the choice, they can't choose the Unison, so they have to wipe their board. Really, really good. He can also be played for 2 because of wings, so that's even worth it. To play for 2 from hand, it's very, very worth it if you need that board wipe. Next up, this is in the wrong place, hold on. We have a 4 of Lord Slug, Out of Control. This guy is our main finisher in the deck. He's a triple strike, 25k. You can evolve him on top of him for, on top of this guy for 2, or you can play him with Buu, which is the main idea. I might up this to 4 because that is one that you really want to see off Buu. Usually off Buu I either play this Slug or this Slug, depending on what I have on field already. And when he's in rest mode, your opponent can't attack leader or Unison cards. So you've got this guy stopping them from attacking leader, you've got this guy stopping them from attacking leader in Unison. It's very defensive. A lot of people are playing this deck very aggressive. I play a very much control version of this deck. I'm slowly whittling my opponent down and having a lot of defenses up, and then killing them in one blow around turn 5 or so. So when this card is removed also, you can grab a ball. So it doesn't have barrier, it means it's easy to remove by skill. Your opponent will probably do that rather than try and out combo. You grab a ball from the drop, and then a lot of people don't, but I play a Slug. So this Lord Slug can then be played from the drop with his skill. The amount of times that's happened has been very low because this usually comes out on my kill turn and people don't remove it. But being able to plus by adding a card to hand from drop and then playing this guy from drop is actually really good. I play this at 3. This is Lord Slug, Agent of Destruction from Series 6. When you play him, your opponent drops a card, so already you're plussing 1, they're negging 1. And then you do have the Activate Main, which I don't use in this deck. It's mainly just for the 20k beta, and then what you can do is, because you got this ball, you can play that on top and then play out the 4 drop again. Play that under this, sorry. So it restarts your chain and it just gives you a lot of value. I have thought about taking it out because the amount of times I've played it is pretty low, but I do also play this from hand for 2 when Wings is on board to get my successor. So if I've only got a Lord Slug on board and I don't have anything else, I'll play this for 2, make them drop a card, and then I can go straight into Selzeno because that's 12. Again, I don't know how optimal that is. I'm still on the fence about it, but I really like the fact that people don't see it coming. A lot of the time I play my decks differently on purpose because it gives me an advantage in that my opponent doesn't know what's coming. People who are good at the card game, you know what your opponent's deck does and you try to counter it. So if I've got the edge on that, it really helps. Next up, another card that I'm not sure about is Janemba the Shadow Warrior. This is just a counter attack. It's good against Gohan if you see that, because it stops Gohan in its tracks. It's a 1-cost 15k counter attack, so it plays the card, and if you negated a leader attack with this, they can't attack with leader again. It helps against other niche decks like the Yellow Baby and things like that, but mainly it's just a 15k body. That's why I have it. I usually use it on early attacks, so I've got it on board to fight with, but the amount of times I've needed it is very low, and I feel like I could replace it with something more useful. Next up, I run main deck 2 Mechikabura the Broken Seal, another one I had to take out because I was sleeving one of my winners cards. This guy's awesome in this deck. I mean, he's an amazing card, everybody knows. It stops your opponent in their tracks in terms of things like red and dark Broly, but the reason I have this in here, because you have Dark Dragon Balls, it just pluses every turn. Your opponent needs to get rid of it, or you're grabbing these back, and it's really, really good. So I really like that. I don't know where I'm putting all these now, starting to run out of room. I'll go to my last battle card now. Selzeno, Unspeakable Abomination. Needs no introduction, this card's dumb. I've said it a million times, and I feel like this is probably the most broken single card in this game right now. And you can get this out so easily in this deck. Like, if you wanted to, you can get it out turn 2 or so, this and this. Turn 3, sorry, with these 2. I mean, you're usually playing it on turn 5 because you can rip your opponent's hand and then pretty much get game unless they have Time Magic or something similar. The other way I get it out is by having a Buu on board and maybe 2 of these guys, which happens more often than you'd think, or him, a Buu, and 1 of these can be played for free from hand. There are many different ways to play it. Slug and that slug, Wings, and this slug. Very easy. So, yep, game ender. Next up, more Dark Dragon Balls to search with her and him. Him. So this is the Dark Dragon Ball Searcher. You have to remember that you can only use this once per turn. So if you get it in your first hand, you probably want to only keep 1. Anything more than that is too many. And if you don't have to worry about it because you can search it or you'll draw into it. So he looks at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose 1 Dark Broly, which I don't have, or non-black battle card with Zeno, or you can search for your Unison. So turn 1 into that is very nice. The other thing is this searches Selzeno. So this is amazing. It doesn't have the clause of with 9 or less, which a lot of the cards do. So it makes Selzeno very easy to pull off because you're searching it with this card, which is free. Next up, Super Combo. I lied, there's another battle card. I don't need to talk about this. It's just a generic black Super Combo. Play whatever you want. This just came with the deck. They're all foil, so it's nice. I run 2 Power Burst. Awesome to grab this back. It's good to have Sparking. You usually have Sparking with this deck pretty easily. I'm thinking about upping this to 4 and changing my deck around a bit, but I'll update the deck list if I do. And I run 2 Pretty Black Hole. So this could even be up to 4. This is crazy. Against Red Broly, I'll give an example. Against Red Broly, if I go first, I'll get this out on turn 1. So play this turn 1, don't block with it, and usually they won't remove it because they don't have that removal in their deck. They've usually only got a -5 from the Unison or whatever. Turn 2, leave both my energy open. I block with this, play this guy, and then I can block twice with him. And then once my opponent's filled his board with all his pieces, I can Pretty Black Hole, sack this, and pretty much wipe the board. which is really amazing. And he can play his extra Brolys if he's awakened, but if he's not, GG. If he is, you know, play them, drop your hand more, that's fine. I get my cards back at the end of my next turn, and it pretty much stops the turn. It's a very, very good card. You also get to draw off it, which is really nice. Worth noting, you don't get to use this auto when it's removed. I forgot to mention that actually, when this guy's removed by skill, you get to KO one of your opponent's battle cards, you get to choose a card in their hand and drop it, and then you get to remove 2 markers from the Unison. So it's really hard for... it's just a very good deterrent to removing this card. And that's it, guys. So it is a lot very different. I mean, I haven't seen anybody playing my Slug kind of direction in this deck before, but that's now, I mean, I was meaning to make a deck profile for this a fair while back, and I only just did it now because I've been refining it so much. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll put a link to some gameplay of this guy in the description as well. After this, I'm going to show you a different version of the deck that I have made, which is built around Agents of Destruction. I'll just show it to you quickly now. It's a lot of fun, it's very janky, but it is very aggressive as well, so enjoy that. Alrighty, I'm back home, guys, after my long day at work, and I'm just going to go over this version of the deck that I spoke about earlier. This is just a little bit of fun. This is very janky, something I randomly thought of when I was thinking about playing wings in the deck. I thought, there's what are other 1-drop cards that can do stuff? So this is pretty much a deck where essentially every card can be played for 1 energy. Very low cost. The longer you're in the game, the more battle cards you can play per turn. And it's really a matter of beating your opponent with 1,000 sticks type thing. Death by 1,000 cuts and all that. So I'm not going to go over the leader and everything. You already know, I just spoke about that. But the premise behind this is it's an Agents of Destruction combo with the Zeno deck. So turn 1, you want to hit a Hatchiyak or a Barbity, preferably Hatchiyak so you can thin your deck. Get this guy out. And then you can start playing all your Agents of Destructions for 1 energy. And then you also have all the 1 energy Zeno cards here. So what you're going to do is turn 1, get this guy out. Turn 2, probably leave 2 energy open, and you're going to go into a Garlic Jr. and playing a Turles, or a Garlic Jr. playing an Android 13. This card's in the deck to be played off Garlic Jr. or to be played for 1. It doesn't work to counterplay with this leader. It also has a nice little effect to fix your deck up from your drop as well. So Garlic Jr. is a negate. You negate it for 1 if he's on the field, and when you play him, you look through your deck for I think it's through your deck, or yeah. So you look through your deck for another Agents of Destruction with an energy cost of 2. So you go usually for Turles, plays it with its skills negated, so it doesn't have barrier on that turn. But then on your turn, you can attack with Turles and look for an Agents of Destruction on the top 5 cards. So you can grab Hatchiyak, Garlic, you can grab this guy, or you can grab himself. So you got those negates, and then you can also negate with Janemba that plays himself as well. So Garlic's got a better value, but Janemba is also good, getting those bodies on board and stopping damage. So that's the ideal play to start playing these on your opponent's turn. You've also got the Slug into Slug chain, again 1 energy for him, then 1 energy to get him out. You've got Dark Broly into Dark Broly chain, 1 energy for him, 1 into him. He can evolve off, and so can he if he needs. You got Freezer for 1 energy. He can attack active mode cards and does a little bit of hand destruction towards your opponent. Play 2 Hidden Power East Supreme guys just for finishing, because most of this deck obviously is not double strike. It doesn't have any finishing power. Mirror and Hidden Power East Supreme Kai are good. I'm playing this over Champa because worst case is a 2-cost 15k that you can play because there's a lot of red in the deck. Senzu Bean because there's a lot of blue and it's nice to be able to restand and keep pumping out these guys. Dark Power Black Marseille at 4 in here. Help you awaken even quicker, especially since you're negating a lot of attacks. And also it's really great in this format just with a lot of decks that it really messes with. So you want to hit Hidden Power on your big guys like Dark Broly or Slug or Mirror. It's pretty simple. There's not much else to talk about. You obviously got the super combos here. But this deck is
very aggressive. You're playing a lot of cards very quickly, very easily, and the fact that you're playing a lot of them on your opponent's turn means you're also negating attacks as well. So they're providing a body and stopping damage for you, which is really nice. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know about both the profiles in the comments below, guys. Tell me what you think. Let me know your builds, because this is a really it's kind of a versatile deck. You can do a lot of things, as you can see. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.